Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the workshop. On behalf of Vaagdevi College of Engineering and in association with the Computer Society of India under Hyderabad Chapter, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this workshop on one developer for every layer, a technical talk on architecting the web, the full stack development journey, organized by the Department of CSE AML. And in the today's session, it will be from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. through this Zoom meeting and under the guidance of our respected convener, Dr. K. Prakash, and the head of the department, CSCAML, Dr. Tanveer Jahan, and the coordinator, Assistant Professor S. Maina. And we are extremely honored to have with us today a distinguished academician, researcher, and industry expert, Dr. Sumithra M, who will be the speaker for this workshop. Dr. Sumithra M is currently serving as a senior grade assistant professor at Weltech University. She holds a PhD in computer science and engineering awarded in 2024 and has an exceptional academic background with ME from Satyabama University and BE from Anna University, both completed with first class with distinction. With her 4 years of experience as a Java corporate trainer, Dr. Sumithra has trained professionals and students across leading organizations such as HCL, Mindtree, Virtusa, and Tata Consultancy Services, and L&T Constructions, and Wipro, and more on, and has also served as a trainer for Infiq and Boottree software. Her training expertise spans Java full stack development and microservices like cloud computing and modern web technologies. Dr. Sumitra is an active researcher with multiple publications in SCI and Scopus indexed journals, particularly in the areas of deep learning, facial emotion recognition, and machine learning in accordance with healthcare analytics and social media intelligence. Her research contributions are recognized through platforms such as Google Scholar, Scopus, and Web of Science. And she is also a certified professional, having completed prestigious certifications from NPTEL and Institute of, and she also completed some certifications from UiPath also. And let us warmly welcome Dr. Sumithra M. Or look forward to an insightful and inspiring session today.
Thank you, Ashwin. Thanks for the
Uh,
nice intro.
Thank you, ma'am. It's my pleasure. And I'll stop my screen and
Okay, fine.
yeah,
Thank you.
you can carry on. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. My warm greetings to everyone who are here. Before starting my presentation, I would like to thank the college as well as the citer for giving me this opportunity. Yes. So let's start with the presentation. Okay. Ashwant, can you make sure that my screen is visible to you?
Yes, your screen is visible for all of us.
Okay, thank
No
you.
problem. Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Fine. So to the crowd, I'd like to welcome everyone for this journey of a full stack developer. Actually, we are in a very continuous way nowadays. We are hearing the term full stack, full stack, full stack. Maybe as a Java developer or maybe as a Python developer. Like we used to hear the term a full stack, a very trendy frame it is, right? So today in this 1 hour session, we are going to have a full view regarding that how and what are all consisting of this full stack, and how we can be a full stack developer journal. How we can be a full stack developer. So here, let me start with what the developers are going to do. What the developers are going to do. Actually, what are all the things they have to be clear about, and what are all the things they have to be expertise for being a full stack developer. And for an industry point of view, what are all the what are all the application tools they have to prepare and they have to practice, so that it will be easy for them to frame the coin of the term as a full stack developer. So let us say full stack is not equal to learning many tools. Full stack is not equal to learning many tools. Let me say that if I'm learning so many tools related to Java, related to Python, and related to web designing, so many things, it doesn't mean that it is a full stack. Fine. Because it is having different layers, where in the different layers we have to proceed in a pattern, then only we call it as a full stack. So in today's discussion, we are going to discuss about what are all the layers and how these layers we are going to frame it as a integrated one. Fine. So the key idea here is we have to have a software architecture. So if I want to say that I myself as a full stack developer, then I have to say that I should be clear about the software architecture and in deep, let us have a big picture, like what are all the things we have to discuss. So first one, you might have, many of you might have been very familiar with all the different types of architecture, right? Yes. How many of you are having idea about three-tier architecture? Just can you give a thumbs up? How many of you are familiar with a three-tier architecture? A three-tier architecture. So basically, what we will call it as a three-tier architecture, there will be a front end, there will be a front end, then there will be a business logic layer, then there will be a backend. And nowadays, as we are deploying everything in the cloud, then we have a service part too. Fine. So that is what the overall view. To talk about here, so in the front end layer, we concentrate mostly on the UI UX part. Means that logic which we have to implement in the browser side. Like from the client point of view, how your application should be appealing to the user. So we will be concentrating on the UI UX part in the front end layer. Coming to the back end layer, we will be concentrating about the APIs, then the business rules. What is the security features we are going to provide for our application? As we are having a full stack application, think of application will be running in the server. The clients are nothing but the users who are going to use our applications, right? So they will be giving their information to make or create an account. There will be a sign in, sign up process. There will be a login, log out of sessions. Every time the detail has to be securely maintained. And whenever I am transmitting some data, let us say that you are developing an application. Let me say that it is an online some payment app, or let us say it is a e-shop, e-cart, whatever it may be. Fine. So what happens when it comes to the money transaction? There should be a secure kind of transmission has to be happen from your end to the back end, right? So security is the most important concern. And coming to the data layer, so where in the data layer, we have to choose on what databases we have to select and how we are going to store the data, how we are going to access the data. Those things we have to give a clear view. And coming to the infrastructure, let us say that like how we are going to have the cloud CI/CDs, and what is the storage we are getting. Either we are going for AWS or Azure or whatever, okay, Alibaba, whatever it may be. So accordingly, we have to frame our infrastructure in a scalable way, in a scalable way. So coming here, so let us have a discussion on the every layer of our full stack course, or let us say it is a full stack entire thing. Um, I think somebody is trying to do something. Okay, thank you. So the first phase is, let us say it is a foundation architect. We have to first understand, because nowadays we are having a huge giant with us like different browsers, right? So whenever I'm using a browser, with the help of the browser, the user is going to connect with the application. The user is going to connect with the application. So how we are going to provide that user end in an attractive way? How we are going to provide the user end in an attractive way? What are all the basic skills we will be using for providing that front end? For providing that front end is we will be concentrating on HTML. Recently we are having HTML5. So with that HTML5, you will be having a structure of the web page, or let us say a structure of the application, where in the HTML we will be saying on what are all the components we are going to add. Then to have a look and feel for the presentation things, you will be using the cascading style sheets. And for bringing out the behavior, for bringing out the logic, what we will be doing is we will be working on the JavaScript. So these are all the foundation architect. But with these things, can I develop a full applications? No, really not. Whatever the thing we can provide it with these HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript, those things are basically, we call them as a static responsive website. We call them as a static responsive website. Means the content will be already there in the website. Like anybody can come and see that. Anybody can come and see that. Fine. So what is if a front end engineer is starting a full stack journey? Then what will be there? So first, we have to be strong in the core like HTML, CSS, and the JavaScripts. Then, after having a sound knowledge about all those front-end technologies, then we have to think upon how we are going to scale our UI. What is scaling? Either you have to uh, increase the features, or you have to reduce the features, whatever it may be, depends on the application. So there comes a point of character, we call it as a scalability, right? So for building a scalable UI systems to a large scale, let us say that number of users are going to use, number of users are going to send the application request at the same time, then in such cases what you can do is you have to be concentrate on the skills, we call them as JavaScript for making your behaviors, React for handling the components and their states, for handling the components and their states, and how this front end is going to transfer the information to the API. How this front end means, let us say that a user is giving some input in the website. Let us say that they are filling a form, they are filling some application. After filling all the entire application, what they will be doing is they will be giving a submit button. So once when the user press the submit button, immediately what happens is, sorry, immediately what happens is the data has to be passed to the backend. The data has to be passed to the backend. How the data goes? So here comes the role of an HTTP with the request and the response. Then that architecture comes, HTTPL request and the response architecture. So in this case, all the transactions, like all the communication of data, we call it as API. Fine. So when your application is capable of scaling up with these React, or let us say it is an Angular or any front end tools. Okay. Here I have just mentioned React as it is a familiar tool. So with let us say that the front end with Angular, or front end with React, or front end with the normal JSP, whatever it could be, then we call them as a single page application. We call it as a SPA, single page application. Now, so coming to the phase three, let us say that a backend engineer. So assume when someone is filling up all the data and they are giving the submit button, what happens with the data? Do you think that will the data will directly go and sit in the database? Is it possible? Will the data go directly back to the database? No, right? So what happens here is the data will be processed by the backend, and that data will get manipulated according to the application context, then it will be stored in the database or cloud, wherever we are saying on it, right? So coming to this backend engineer, what are all the things we have to concentrate is, let us say, here is the place where we are going to build our server side systems. We are going to build a secure server side system. So the browser part, the until the phase 2, we call it as a front end part, where we are developing only with the designing of your application, presentations, the fixing the behavior of the user and all those things. Fine. So coming to the back end, what are all the things we are concentrating? See, as I told you, when after in filling up all the data, when we are giving a submit button, immediately what will happen is the data will be passed in the form of something we call it as a JSON. We call it as a JSON object. So that JSON object will be processed by all the REST API requests. Either it may be a get, post, put, delete, whatever it may be. So based on that request, again the data will be taken to the application. Um, so okay. So coming to the next part is the authentication and the authorization, where the data, when the user login, we have to maintain a session, because let us say that Amazon, okay, in particular point of time, we could see that millions of customers are logging into Amazon. They are doing a searching of a product. They are purchasing a product. Some are filing the comments. Some are filing the review. Some are filing the request for a refund. Whatever it may be, right? So what happens is every user will be given with a separate session. Every user will be given with a separate session. So in that session, they can do, and whenever they want to log in, they have to um, ensure that they are logging in with their own credentials. Fine. So for doing all these things, what are all the core technologies you have to be familiar is, make yourself familiar with Node.js, with either Java or Python. With Node.js, you have to be expertise either in Java or in the Python. Then only we can prepare a secure backend service. We can provide, or we can prepare a secure backend service. So here, like if I am explaining, instead of explaining everything in a theoretical way, just let me show you a few things. I just want to bring you uh, as see, if I am saying something, you could see I have just prepared a this is my all back project initial stage. As in the initial stage, I have been uh, guiding all my students to prepare these kind of stuffs. So what is here is, you could see that a simple project, a single spa, we call it as a single spa, means a single page application. Okay. So whenever I'm clicking on a menu, you could see that the pages change. Whenever I'm clicking on a menu, you could see the pages change. Fine. And assume here are some datas. After filling up all the datas, I'll be giving out my datas via the submit button. So what this submit button will do is, it will take the data. Fine. So this front end I have developed using Angular. You could see that after taking these datas, what the data will be um, like what happened to the data is, the data will be converted into some format of data which we call it as a JSON form. Can you see here? So here it is a single JSON object. It is a single JSON object. Let me say that I am a doctor. So here in the doctor with some set of patients. So that is what the basic thing. So understand, whenever we are fixing or filling out some data and we are giving the submit button, what happen is that submit data will be transmitted in the format of these kind of JSON things, these kind of JSON things. So what is the background work we have to do for this is, you have to prepare your, as I've told you, here you could see the design page. For example, if I want to add a doctor, okay, or else now we have seen that one page, right? So you could see that the design of this page is here. add component.html, where you could see the HTML content of this and the designing content, means the presentation. Okay. So this presentation, let us say that it
What I idea on it?
I hope I can continue. So here in the CSS part, like there will be just as it is a Angular thing, style.css. A common CSS thing we have imported from the Bootstrap. And here you could see the JavaScript. So as it is an Angular, all the behavior of each and every component, we have specified it in the TypeScript. Salary, whatever we are specifying here, those data only we are collecting from the user. Okay. So it is not only about designing some HTML with few elements. No, it is not like that. When we are developing a scalable application, we have to specify everything in such format. According to the template of this, we will be collecting the data from the user, and on submit, the data will be actually available in this kind of JSON format. Okay. So what happened in this backend engineer thing is, whenever there comes a data, assume the data is coming in some JSON format, we have to use these kind of REST APIs. We have to use these kind of REST APIs. Either you can follow with Java or Python. And for the application, what I have shown you, here you could see, here is the backend. Okay. So whenever there comes a data from this, what I am doing is, you could see here, I am just capturing the data here using this URL. I just want to make you clear. Can you see here um, what is the IP address as it is in my localhost? The port number is 4200 with a connecting link. So let me say here, you could see that I'm specifying, here is my protocol, here is the IP address. So as I'm using my localhost, here it is a localhost, and for this 4200, I'm giving a port number. Right. So in this port number, you could see that the data actually we are going to submit. Whatever the data I'm submitting, those kind of are read here. If you could see here from this, I'm going to collect data, and what form of getting it is a Docker object. I told you, right? So you could see a Docker class object. What happens is, when that coming, you could see here, like we have some set of classes here. Okay. So here also we have a model class, which we call as a Docker. You could see in the same similar kind of pattern, you have to prepare inside your backend also. So as it is a model, see, I have prepared a Docker class. So here is my Docker class. Same set of data I am giving here in the Docker class too. Can you see the ID, name, age, gender, salary, specialist? The same thing what I have specified in my front end too. So this is how the front end layer is now connected with your back end layer. Your Visual Studio Code, that HTML, CSS design, whatever you done in the Visual Studio Code, now it is getting added to your Java or Python code, what you are doing in your IDE. I hope now it is clear, right? So what happens after the data is coming out from the front end to the back end? Now the back end part is responsible for writing all the logics. You could see here. Okay. So here in after the controller, let me show you the repository. So here you could see whatever the data comes, I am connecting. See, whatever the data I am receiving all the data as a doctor format. I'm receiving all the data as a doctor class type, right? So those data, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it in my repository. What is my repository? So if you could see in the application properties of this project, we will be configuring some database. Can you see here? Here I'm saying this is my database name. What is the database name? I'm keeping here it as a hospital MT, hospital management. So I'm just keeping it like a hospital MT. So what here is in the back end? See what is happening? First, we have a front end where let us say, for example, we have connected with the HTML. When the data is getting submitted, data are coming in the JSON format and now it is coming to your backend. Let me say in my case, it is Java. Yes or no? So in the Java code, what I am doing when I am configuring my project, I am connecting my DB with this Java. So here is the place where you have to say whether actually you want to connect your DB to a structured query language or it is a NoSQL, whatever you want to specify, you have to configure everything here in this application properties file. So after giving all your configurations, now your data is more ready to connect the logic, whatever you are writing to the database. So remember, here is a place we are using it for design, and here is a place where we are using for writing all our logic, security, all those things. And this DB is for the storage. I hope the flow is clear. Fine. So let us proceed. Here, if you could see, if I want to write any logics related to the now in my application, a first level of a beginner can prepare a simple application with simple CRUD operation where they can add some list of doctors and they can take the list of doctors and they can modify the list of doctors or they can delete or remove any list of doctors, something like that. Okay. So when it is a beginner journey, what they will be doing is they will be allowed to do with some basic CRUD operations. That is the easy one for the beginners to prepare on it. Correct. Create, read, update, and delete. Create, read, update, and delete. So first they have to be very clear about the CRUD operations. Again, I'm saying choosing a language is your choice. Got it? So now the entire application is ready. The entire application is ready. You could see this is the entire application. Inside this application, if you could see, there will be a controller set of classes will be there. For this class, you can have an exception. You have to have a model template classes. Then you have to connect them with the basic repositories. You should have a properties file for all the configurations. As a developer, as a software developer, we have to be clear about all these things when we are preparing any application. Fine. So coming to this part, now the data is there. Assume the data we are going to enter here. For example, here, let us say some data. Shall I say the data as cited? Let us say it is okay. So cited. So let us give some age and some gender, then something, and let us say that he is some XYZ, some ENT. Okay, so assume something like this. Now what I am doing is I am going to give a submit button. So you could see that the data is getting added up in the database. Just now I have submitted the data. You could see that in a fraction of second, the data what we have submitted is now getting added here. Let me show you here. There is no such data. Can you see here? This was the site which we didn't refresh now, but we have just seen what was the data there in that doctor set of data, right? So here you could see that ID 8, 9, 10, 11 is there. Let me just refresh it. Yes. Could you see now? the data what I have added at last now, you could see here that data is here. The data is here. So in a fraction of second, whatever the data we are giving from the back end, it has processed the front end to back end, and from the back end, it has reached the data storage, and it is getting reflected as a response in the front end also. We are getting the response in the front end also. Okay, so this is what an entire application we call it on. Okay, so for front part we done with Angular, back end part we done with Java with all this project structure, and we have to see about the data part, back end part also, right? So I've already told you this is my database name. So let us just come back to the uh, workbench. So for this project, I have taken SQL. So for which the tool I have used is MySQL Workbench. Again, for MySQL also, we have so many different tools are there. Whatever the storage thing you are going to use, you can go with PostgreSQL, MySQL, NoSQL, anything. That's up to your choice. Fine. So here, can you see here? Like just me, like let me highlight it. It is the hospital that DB you can see here, right? Hospital empty. So inside that hospital empty, these are all the tables which we are maintaining. If you could see here, 8, 9, 10, 11 is there. That recently added data was not there. Because we didn't refresh here, right? Now only we have added that new data. Just let me refresh. You could see here now the recently added data is getting reflected in my storage. Could you see here? I have given something as a citer with a specialty of the doctor as an ENT with age of 34 and gender as M. Hope it is clear. So this is how the data is transmitted from one layer to another layer. The data is transmitted from one layer to other layer. So in the front end, we have an Angular. Angular is nothing but a combination of where we have used all the basic HTML, CSS with the TypeScript to connect or inject all the behaviors. Why we made it as an Angular? Because Angular provides us all the configurations for making it as a single page applications. It is providing all the backend libraries for navigations, routing services and all. So with that Angular help, we are connecting all those components and we are maintaining the state of the components. We are transferring the final data in the form of JSON to your backend. In the backend, you are receiving the JSON and you are manipulating all your data. So whenever you are doing something, that should be a persistent storage. That persistent storage we are bringing back from our data storage. Is it necessary that we have to go only with MySQL? Definitely not. You can go with anything as your choice. So see here, like I have a data integration thing. So where in the data part, you can go with, in the data part, you can go with a SQL or no SQL. That is up to you. Fine. So for SQL thing, we have different data DBs are there, and for NoSQL, you can go with the MongoDB, like everybody is familiar nowadays. For SQL, you can go with MySQL or PostgreSQL, and even for connecting with, you can go with different clients. You can go with MariaDB. If for execute. So what are all the other things we have to be on the data integration artist? One is database design. So in the demo on you have a SQL where you can have, we can have a data. Whatever we are giving in the front end format, the same template we are maintaining in the Java code, and the same template we have to maintain in our database also. Yes or no? Same template we have to maintain in our database. Only then there will be a sync between all the different layers and our data will be good enough to store in it. Fine. So that database design we have to. Even coming to the database design, you have to concentrate on ORM too, a very important thing. So here, this ORM is taking a major role in connecting your backend with your data. Because object relational mapping, whatever the objects you are generating in your Java or in your Python, has to be related with the model in your relational database. Yes or no? So let me say that it has to be mapped to your data table in your database. So let us say that this ORM is your object has to be mapped here in the same format, right? So the ORM comes to the part. Coming to the performance optimization, everything we have to be take care on selecting a particular database with the primary keys, foreign keys, and with all the index views and PLs, triggers, functions, everything will be using on at the back end. So, for example, let us say if I'm having an application, suddenly a user is trying to delete one doctor or delete one data, or let us say if it is an Amazon kind of application and I want to delete one product. So, shall I just simply go and delete it? Will it not affect the other items or the other tables which is directly related with that particular table? So, we have to be cautious about the uh, sequence of actions. So in such cases, what we have to do is we have to create a trigger. So when there is one action, what has to be taken care? All those things we have to be um, clear about it. And coming to the next part, let us say it is a full stack architect. So understand, you have to be first familiar with the basic design concepts, then the front end, then the back end, like where you are going to have your business logic, and then your data storage. Finally comes the cloud part. Finally comes the cloud part. So in the cloud part, you have to deploy your application as a full application. What is running in your local host, you have to deploy the same application in the cloud server. Only then multiple users can take it. If I am having my application in my laptop or my computer, then only from different browsers of my system I can access that. How can others can come and access my laptop? It is not possible. So what we will be doing, we will be deploying our application in a server. So where in the server our application will be deployed. Before deploying also, we have to do certain things which we call it as a CI/CD process, continuous improvement and continuous deployment. Whenever I am improving the version of my application, those versions has to be continuously deployed in the server. For the different tools are there. Jenkins is a famous tool which nowadays we are using in the industry, and coming to the monitoring and security. So that comes under the maintenance phase. It comes under the maintenance phase. Hope I have explained all the 5 phases. I think it is clear. So let us see a full demo of it in a layer wise. Just give me a moment. So let me close the presentation. So whenever we are okay. So what is our first layer is? What is our first layer? Our first layer is the front end tool. What we are going to use here. Fine. So here you could see all these things. If you could see on, there will be a HTML, CSS with the TypeScript. All the components you could see. For adding a doctor, you have to add a component. For listing out all the doctors, you have to add a component. And similarly, for updating the doctor, you have to add a component. Got it? So everything, whatever we do, what we will be doing is we will be having a separate component with a combo of HTML, CSS, and the TypeScript. It varies a little bit if you are going for a React. So this is first thing. And coming to the next layer, as we discussed in the Java, you have to concentrate about this properties only in terms of connecting with your repository. The structure of your project, what you will be actually having is, yes, yes, this is how your project structure will be there. If you could see, there will be a source main Java thing where inside this you have to create different packages. Repository package for connecting with your repository package is for connecting with your DB. Okay. And model is for representing all your class items. Okay. For preparing the template. And this exception is for handling all the exceptions. Controller for specifying this APIs. Okay. And your main method will be there here. And here you will be having your main method. Okay. That application properties where we have configured all those configuration details will be there here in the resources. And for configuring your project, all the libraries will be here. Coming to the Maven dependencies, all those libraries will be here. See, adding up each and every library is not possible like when we are doing a full stack, a full setup of a project. Fine. So in such cases, what we recommend actually is we have we have to use any IDE. We have to use any IDE. You can go with Eclipse or IntelliJ, depends on the industry expectation. Both the IDEs serves good for preparing a full stack application. So here, so this is how you will be doing out on all the codes. See, like I know, like many of the cases, whenever I'm going for training, if I say the people that main method should be a clutter-free with simple method, they'll be seeing it in a weird way. Because usually, being in the academic profession, we know that all our students will be writing all the logic. What they'll be doing is they all the logic will be there inside the main method only. But actually, that should not be the case. Actually, that should not be the case. Main method should be a clutter-free one. So here, a simple example. So consider whenever there comes a request, data are transmitted to the database via it connected with the properties. And here is my database. So for each and every application, what we have to do is just we have to create one database. No need of creating tables. That is a very wonderful thing. You need not create any tables. Tables will be created automatically. That is the work done entirely by the JPA. That is the work entirely done by the JPA. You could see that these annotations are there, right? These annotations are there. What will happen is, see here, the major annotations I am having. So what it is doing is, it is going to create a model, it is going to create or generate a table. Now it is fixing this first variable, ID variable as a primary ID. It is fixing the first variable as the primary ID. So everything we are configuring in the backend only. In the business logic only, we are configuring everything. This data storage is purely for the storage purpose only. Okay. So if just only, see, for example, let me show you. Let me create one schema. Let me say my schema name is center. Okay. I'm just giving it as apply. Okay. So everything in small letter. Apply. I have just created my DB. You could see here now that DB is available here. Where that, yes, my sitter DB is available here. Inside that, nothing is there. Nothing is there. Now, what I can do is here in the application properties, instead of this, let me mention my new DB name. Let me stop the application and let me rerun my application. So actually the application should start here now. I have given a rerun. Okay, so in that another console, you could see that my application is getting executed. Yes or no? So here it is saying what happened. You could see here my application has started in this port number 77, same port number. We didn't change anything, right? So let us come here. In the same port number, my application is there. Let me refresh. Okay. Now it is there with all the datas. No change in my front end, no change in my back end. Let us go to the storage and check once. Here in the citer, initially there was nothing, right? Now just let me refresh it. Okay, I didn't save it. Fine. I have saved it and let me relaunch my application. Okay. So at all times, as I didn't change the port number, my application will be running in the same port. Now let us go here. Let us refresh. You could see there is no data here. There is no data here because the database newly we have created, the CITER database newly we have created, right? Let me just refresh this database. You could see here inside the CITER database, tables are auto-generated. Have we created any of these tables? Actually, we didn't create any tables at all. What we did is just we have created only the database. If you could see now the table is created with all the same format of the data, whatever is expected. Table is ready now. Table is ready now. So what is happening here is because of that ORM, as I've told you, that object, whatever you have specified in your classes, those objects are mapped with your tables. So this is the work of the ORM. As a full stack developer, people has to understand that what is actually happening at application is getting developed and how easily we are automating everything via the code. I hope I have given a detailed view on how the applications work. So here you could see that we should not learn random tools. That is not a correct approach. Whereas the correct approach is first you learn or clear about the concepts, like what we are going to do, like how the data are transferred, how we have to prepare it, like that. Once when the concept is clear for you, then to map that concept, what are all the tools are required, those tools you can prepare. So that is what the easy and the best strategy we have to follow to make everything goes in a proper way. So first start as a web developer. There are so many no code sites are there. Fine. So start your first level of journey as a web developer. Then start with the front end. Try to have a scalable sites using this single page applications. Then expertise yourself as a backend engineer. Then you become a full stack developer. After becoming a full stack developer, after preparing n number of objects, you will be seeing what are all the cons and pros and what are all the places where when we are integrating with the deployment, we are facing issues. So after having enough expertise on that, then definitely you can be a tech lead or a solution architect. Thank you. Thanks for providing me this opportunity to explain a wonderful journey of how to start and how to become a full stack developer on your own. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Welcome, Dr. Sumithra, and thanks for the presentation. And respected dignitaries and esteemed speaker and faculty members and dear participants, as we came to the conclusion of this insightful workshop on one developer for every layer, organized by Department of CSC in association with the Computer Society of India under Hyderabad Chapter. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks. First and foremost, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Sumithra M, Senior Grade Assistant Professor from Weltech University, for delivering an exceptional, informative, and inspiring technical talk. And her in-depth explanation of full-stack architecture and combining with her rich academia and industry experiences has truly enhanced our understanding of modern web development and the evolution role of full-stack developer. We are grateful to her for sharing her valuable knowledge and for making this session both engaging and enlightening. And we thank to the patron, Dr. K. Prakash, sir, Principal of Vaagdevi College of Engineering, for his constant support and encouragement and guidance, which made this workshop possible. Our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Tanveer Jahan, Head of the Department, CSE AML, the convener of this workshop, for her leadership and motivation and continuous support in the organization for the technical event. We also express sincere appreciation to Assistant Professor Maina Madam and for her coordination of this workshop, her dedication, efforts, and meticulous planning. Yeah. And we extend our gratitude to the Computer Society of India, Hyderabad chapter, for their valuable association and supporting in organizing this workshop. We would like to thank all the faculty members and organizing committee members of Department of CSCAML for their cooperation and teamwork throughout the event. Finally, our sincere thanks to all the participants and students for their enthusiastic participation and active interaction, which made this event lively and meaningful. Once again, thank you all for being a part of successful workshop. Have a great day.